DJI's Phantom 4 might not be the very latest drone to hit the market, but it's still one of the most desirable hovering cameras out there. If you're looking for an all-in-one drone that's aimed at aerial photography, the Phantom 4 is probably on your radar. So is it worth $1,200 to you? The first thing you'll notice about the Phantom 4 is the massive oversized carry case, made of tough but light material. It's a bit like a cool box, but it's huge in comparison to the size of the drone. Inside you'll find the Phantom 4, remote control, battery, charger, a few cables, 2 sets of rotors, and some DJI literature for getting started. Other things you'll need include an iOS or Android device that attaches to the remote control, providing an aerial view and plenty of extra controls. The drone feels pretty sturdy, with an outer plastic shell which straddles the line between tough and lightweight. It really doesn't weigh very much at all until you fit the battery. The power cell is rated for 5,350 mAh at 15.2 volts. That's a lot of power, and spares will run you about $170 each. Controls take the form of 2 control sticks with sharp ends that stick to your fingers like glue, 2 customizable trigger buttons, 3 shoulder buttons, a dial for controlling camera angle, a return to home button, and a power button. The battery has a button on it for powering up the drone and checking its current status, which is handy. The Phantom's rotors must be removed during storage and transportation, and though it takes a minute or two, putting everything together is pretty simple. There's no reliance on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi for pairing your tablet or smartphone either, just connect a USB cable and you're ready to go. Connection is made using the DJI Go App, a free download from the App Store or Google Play. Activate the drone via the internet, then follow the on-screen setup process and you'll be airborne within minutes. The drone uses a beginner mode to stop you from trashing it before you know exactly what you're doing. This gives you tips about flying and landing, and you won't be able to take off unless you have enough GPS satellites to get you safely back home if things go wrong. This mode also limits your speed, maximum altitude, and maximum distance. Turn off beginner mode for a much more sensitive Phantom flying experience. You can then use the feed you see on your smart device to see exactly where you're going, to a maximum range of about 5 kilometers at an altitude of 120 meters. Battery life is limited to about 28 minutes, and if battery gets too low or connection is lost, the smart return feature will fly the Phantom 4 back home. The drone is essentially a very intelligent flying camera, and will appeal most to aviators with a keen interest in aerial photography. The Phantom is 4K capable, with a mode for 2.7K video and 120 frames per second at 1080p. It also snaps 12 megapixel still images. As you'd expect, flying the drone itself is tons of fun. In addition to smart return, there's obstacle avoidance built in, and a feature called Active Track which follows moving targets automatically. The Phantom 4 takes drone accessibility to a new level, but much of that also depends on your own personal circumstance. You can customize the controls if you want, but I had little need to. Lag between video feed and control input is minimal and doesn't impact the Phantom 4 in the slightest when used for the sweeping aerial shots DJI does so well. While the drone is enjoyable, it's not entirely discreet. When taken off it sounds very loud, not dissimilar to an electric lawnmower. It'll likely scare off wildlife and your neighbours will definitely hear it. At over $1,000, using the Phantom 4 to start with is a bit daunting. Fortunately, DJI eases you into it, and building up confidence is something you can do at your own pace. The safety features also help put you at ease, so you can concentrate on having fun. How much fun you can have with the drone, however, may depend on where you live. I've been testing the drone in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm limited due to the proximity of helipads, airports, military bases, and other controlled airspace. I could invest in a pilot's license, which would give me more freedom, but that's an expensive endeavour. This has definitely hindered my enjoyment of the drone, as I've been unable to fly lawfully within my own backyard. You might not have this problem, especially if you don't live in an urban environment or local drone laws are more relaxed. The other problem is the size of this thing. Even though the drone itself is relatively small, the carrying case is massive. If you won't be driving everywhere, transporting it can be a real issue. I resorted to strapping it to the back of a bicycle rack, but if you're thinking of taking the drone out on foot, it might be an issue. DJI sell a separate backpack for carrying the drone safely, but it'll set you back another $200. This is arguably the main reason that the very latest drones are small and light. The DJI Phantom 4 is still one of the more capable devices on the market, but I'd take portability over raw speed or even superior cameras at this stage. It's also expensive, and there are many other hidden costs. The biggest of these are spare batteries, as if you want to get serious filming done over the course of a few hours, then you're going to need 3 or 4 fully charged cells. You'll also need some spare microSD cards to capture all that footage. How much of this hassle and expense is worth it depends on you. If you're looking for a drone that's fun to fly, loaded with tech that comes with some reassuring safety features, then the Phantom 4 has you covered. Battery life is good compared to the rest of the field, and the Phantom 4 is capable of shooting some stunning footage. But if you're likely to be limited by a situation, local laws, or how you'll be using the drone, then you might want to opt for something lighter, smaller, or cheaper. To read our full review and be in with a chance of winning the Phantom 4, head to MakeUseOf.com.